Hello and welcome back to the Full Fat Podcast with me, Charlie Lilly, and my other two variants of Charlie Lilly. And we have just watched Loki, episode 6. I think we're also going to go into Freaky, that we saw at the weekend, in separate cinemas. We saw them all separately, in our own timelines.
Yes.
And we might even touch on B-movie as well.
Brilliant.
I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But first off, viewers, we need to talk about a little prediction we made last week, and that was that it would come home. And you may remember I said to you, we do it for a joke, the English, because we know we're terrible ultimately, and there was a low chance of it coming home. And indeed, it didn't come home.
What do you mean?
Rest assured. Sorry, what?
What do you mean? It came home. What are you talking about?
Oh, you're in denial, are you?
What do you mean? What do you mean? In
You're
my
still denying
timeline.
Oh, I see. I
it
see.
came home.
Yeah.
This is Charlie variant Uno Dos. Number 12, I guess.
This is yeah.
I'm the Italian Charlie variant, and it came home for us.
Well, it came to
Really?
Rome.
So,
It came to Rome. It's come in Rome, is what we sing.
are you kidding me? So I'm the only Charlie variant that saw it not come home. But
Sorry.
But Charlie's timeline is the only timeline where it came home for England. Is that correct? That is correct.
That is
isn't it?
true.
Yeah.
He did, yes, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
How does it feel over there?
Well, we figured out peace.
Not you, Italy. Not you, Italy.
The peace of the entire country has happened. Everyone is holding hands and singing Kumbaya. It's pretty,
Damn. Just as we
pretty
predicted.
Good.
Wow.
It's pretty sweet, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Feel sorry for you guys.
Well, I must say, to those other timelines where we didn't win, go back from the rock from whence you emerged.
Fantastic.
My
No,
God.
unfortunately, we're all in the darkest timeline, and
Yeah.
it didn't come home. And
Did not
We are.
come home.
yeah,
But
And even Love Island isn't good this year, so
Even
we
Love
are
Island isn't
truly
good.
in the darkest timeline.
although we did come to the final, so that is
Yeah.
the takeaway. Best we've done.
and you know
But
what?
is that worse? Is it worse to make it all the way and not bring it home? Is that truly the darkest timeline?
You're just trying to egg us on because you're the Italian Charlie. You think it's
true.
funny, don't you, that we lost?
Dare you.
But, you know, I would just like to say, I think all the players did fucking cracking, and
Fantastic.
Southgate, you're still the one. And,
still
you know,
the
on a
one.
serious note,
And he still turns
even though
me on.
Boris said, he still turns you on. He
Yeah,
still
yeah.
turns you on. But also, fuck all the players that stormed Wembley and have said terrible
Oh,
stuff to Rashford and the
fucking
like.
idiots.
Fuck that. Not cool.
Yeah, I
Mate,
was.
it's embarrassing for us. That's what it is.
It
I
is
was
embarrassing.
watching the match in a building like right next to Wembley Stadium, and like literally it was chaos getting up there. And then we saw them like all rush to stadium. I've got like a video. It was so mental.
Yeah.
They all just pushed through and like were barging up, and then it was weirdly like eerie on the way home because nobody was like talking, chanting, cheering. Like everybody was literally just walking like.
I just think, you know, like, for the British, the Hillsborough disaster is a very tangible, recent thing in memory that kind of, you know, that's the reason why we have the security and safety measures in stadiums that we do. And I just think it's fucking disgusting that, you know, we know that's a thing that happens to so many people, and like so many people fucking died, and you're now going to storm Wembley. And also, it's embarrassing for, like, you know,
Yeah.
we want to do like a World Cup bid or the next Euro bid. That's not going to fucking happen.
Well, we got fined in the semi-finals, didn't we? Because someone pointed a laser in the goalkeeper's eye.
Yeah, although I did see an incredible meme that was like what the goalkeeper sees, and it was like one of those clubs where all the green lights like.
That's so funny.
I also saw an incredible one of like it was the goalie like getting the laser in his eye, and then it cut to Matt Smith doing this with the sign.
I see there was one with Boris as well. With him doing
Amazing.
it. The internet is
However,
undefeated.
our goalkeeper Pickford is like become a national treasure overnight just with his attitude of like,
Oh, what a
why
god.
do I have to do this?
No,
He's just like, fucking hell, get out of there. I don't want it down here. What?
No, the single milkiest thing was when he was like, you could see him going, no problem, before he saved the goal, no problem.
Before he
Like,
saved the
what
bloody
is going through that
penalty?
man's mind?
What a
right
legend.
there? I do think the pressure must be insane.
Oh,
Oh
my
my
god,
God.
absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
my god. Poor Saka as well, 19 years of age,
Yeah.
to take the penalty that decides whether England win in the finals. Damn, that is tough. That's tough.
As soon as it went to penalties, that's kind of game over for England. isn't it?
Yeah, that's
We
how it
knew.
was.
We knew. We tried.
I can't believe that
Tried.
they said that apparently they've been practicing non-stop penalties as well in training, and we still fucked it.
Yeah.
Because the pressure is
It's
different
just
when
not
you're
our
there.
strength.
It's different
It's
when you're there.
just not our strength,
Yeah.
boys. It's just not our strength.
Come on, guys. Qatar 2022.
That's it. It's gonna come home.
It's
Maybe.
going to happen. It's going to come out.
I don't think it will, but that's for 2022
Nancy,
to deal with.
You really are Italian,
Hey.
Charlie, aren't you?
That's what I mean. Like, Italy are going to take it home again, so that's what Italian Charlie says.
I'm
He
not
also cooks great pizza.
I don't want to be a negative Nancy either, but Harry Bagg told me it's going to be taking place in winter for us because Qatar have their summer, like in Australian and sort of time, because it's Southern Hemisphere. So we're going to have it.
Oh,
We're
that's
going to
a
have
shame.
the World Cup in the winter. I know. I thought that.
Yeah.
But do you
You
know
want the
what?
summer,
It's
don't you?
something. It's something nice to look forward to in the winter time. I guess gets us through those
Yeah, but I just-
cold nights.
But, I want a cold beer on a hot summer's day.
Yeah.
I'm in my shorts.
In the
we've
beer garden.
We got to the final again. Everyone doubted
Yeah.
us, and now we're going to win this time. It's coming home.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to do that in like a cold British pub. When
Yeah.
I've got my
Imagine
coat on.
putting your coat on to go watch the match.
Exactly. Do these phrases go together? World Cup, layers. No. they don't.
We all know it's onions and layers.
Yes. And ogres. And then there's this like subsection in the middle where Shrek sits.
Beautiful, beautiful. So
Anyway,
Terry.
Terry, we've discussed this, all right? I do the transitions, all right? Don't try
Sorry.
and come and do
We've
the show.
discussed
all
Th-
right?
sometimes you guys just get talking, and I have to just move stuff along.
We actually haven't discussed it, but I like the
No,
idea
we
that
haven't.
I like the idea that off podcast I'm like
He's
the
a
Tom
tyrant.
Cruise producer in
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
in Tropic Thunder. I'm like literally go and fuck your own face.
We go to bed at night and we have very, very serious chats about my behaviour on the podcast.
I mean,
yes.
I mean, you joke, but I've literally got like a saw level trap attached to my ankle, and if I don't finish the podcast, Matt presses the buzzer.
Oh no.
You joke about all this, but Terry, what you said a moment ago about like we have these discussions about the podcast in bed. Someone I know, a friend of mine, who I won't name any names, but said that they were going into a partnership with two other people, and midway into the partnership, two of them became a couple. And they said that the point at which they knew they had to get out of this three-way business relationship was when one of them spoke to them and said, "Yeah, we had a business meeting last night in bed, and we really thought that da-da-da-da-da." And apparently they were just like, in their head, "I think this is it. I think I'm going to leave this." You would, wouldn't you? They're having business meetings in bed whilst you're just sat there at home.
I was only joking. Charlie, please don't leave us.
Yeah, no, Char, we don't have any business meetings in bed.
We don't. We don't.
They're all about like,
Look.
how can we get rid of Charlie?
Look,
What are we gonna do?
the Full Fat Podcast isn't the only place where the magic happens, is all I'll say. Anyway, now that I've embarrassed Terry, Loki, episode 6. Terry, since you seem so keen on taking over the podcast...
I swear to God, if you tell me to synopsise, it's not happening. Get away. Take it back. We have had this actual discussion. Like, we've actually discussed this. So, your podcast, you synopsise.
I thought it was the Terry Murphy
Okay,
podcast. Did you say that
Yeah, I
last
thought it was
week?
the same American podcast.
Well, I got told I wasn't allowed to do that anymore.
Well, I've been told that I might be able to strike a deal with you, and that is that I'll
Okay.
explain to viewers for the next minute why I'm not wearing these sunglasses, and you can, in that time, think about what you're going to say to snot the
Okay.
plot. And also, you don't have to give us like a real intense breakdown. I think just give us, the rough beats, and tell us who we met and why they
Okay.
might be significant, and then I'll take it back over. And then I'll ask you guys what you think. And then it might go back to you, it might go back to Charlie. We don't know at this point. from here on out, I don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen.
Can I just press end on the podcast after that little speech?
That could be it. That could be the whole podcast.
That's the full podcast.
Yeah. Certainly make our edit easier.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Viewers, as I promised, Terry's now going to be thinking about how she's going to synopsis the plot. Whilst I tell you why I'm not wearing sunglasses. Of course, this is a visual-only segment of the podcast. You don't really get much out of this if you're just listening on audio, because you didn't know that I was wearing sunglasses, and still don't, although of course now you do. And it may sound like I'm filibustering, but there is actually a proper reason for this, and that is that I like wearing sunglasses. But last week, I picked a pair, they're the only pair at the side right now, the only pair I could have worn, and they made the screen incredibly dark, and there were certain points of last week's podcast where I couldn't see Charlie and Terry, and it made things quite difficult. So this week, I thought I'd just go freehand, and I'll be the odd one out, like Terry's usually the odd one out. She's the odd one out anyway.
Anyway, Terry, would you like to snop the plot?
Well, it's actually really hard to Google a synopsis for a thing that happened today. So,
But it is easy to snop something you've watched today.
okay, so we head back to the middle of the storm where Eliath was, where Loki and Sylvie enchanted them.
Mm-hmm.
Enchanted Eliath,
Mm-hmm.
the big monster,
Mm-hmm.
and then they find a citadel. Was it a citadel?
Mm-hmm.
Is that at the end of time,
Mm-hmm.
where our good pal Kang is chilling.
Who?
And Kang the Conqueror, or is it?
It's not Kang the Conqueror though, is it? We'll get into that in a bit.
It's just a guy called Kang. Then Kang is like, yeah, I'm in charge of everything. And I know everything that's going to happen. And then obviously Loki and Sylvie, being the little tricksters they are, try and kill him. And he's like, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha at every hurdle.
He's covered in grease, and they keep trying to like catch him, and he just like
He's
slides
slippery.
out. He's in speedos. He's greased up. He just keeps like,
That's really. I'm imagining like a Loki variant that's like slippery Loki, and you think, oh god, that's slippery Loki, but then he's actually just covered in grease.
yeah. He's like sliding along the floor.
all I keep thinking about since you said that is there's a character in the Watchmen HBO series that like slithers through the floor down like a drain, and anyone who's seen it that listens to the podcast will know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's all I could think about when you guys were saying that. It's absolutely hilarious. Like, I actually had the visual in my head, like as you saying it. So
Fantastic.
And that's my monthly reminder that I need to get around to watching
mate,
Watchmen.
what are you doing, mate?
And I don't know why I haven't done it yet.
I don't know why you haven't.
I know. Well, look, you know what? Look, now the shame is public shame. So you
Hopefully
can comment
people can
telling
comment.
me, that I need to
watch
watch Watchmen.
Yeah.
Who watches the Watchmen? Not me, apparently.
Not Whittle.
So you could say you're not a watchman.
Could you finish synopsing the plot rather than terrible jokes?
You keep interrupting my synopsizing talking about Watchmen.
You're right, I do.
So, Slippery Kang has been slippery sliding everywhere and then reveals that he's in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Owen Wilson goes to visit the woman who's in charge of the TVA, and they have like a little battle and she kicks his ass. Okay.
Her name's Renslayer.
Renslayer, yes. Judge Renslayer. And then we find out she was like a teacher at some point. I don't remember the order in which stuff happened. I just remember that stuff happened. And I'm really bad at this. So then, guess go.
I would agree with that. Would you like me to hand it over to Charlie?
No, I'm nearly done.
Because I feel like he's been laughing at you. You know, maybe he. Maybe
I'm laughing at you fucking tit.
So essentially, then he's like, if you kill me, you'll start off this multiversal war that I'm like controlling right now. So don't do that. So then Loki and Sylvie, Loki's like, no, we probably shouldn't. We should probably like hear him out. And Sylvie's like, no, I'm blinded by revenge and I must kill this guy. So then she betrays Loki, and then she kills Kang. And then Loki's back at the TVA and he goes up to Owen Wilson. And Owen Wilson's like, dude, what's going on? And then he looks up at the statues of the timekeepers, and guess who it is? Bum, bum, bum! Not Slippery Kang.
Could be possibly Kang the Conqueror, the variant.
Kang.
Interesting.
Was that good enough? Did I
think that was pretty good. I
remember?
think that was pretty good synopsing. That was pretty
Thank
good
you.
synopsing. And now time for what we thought. I would like to say that I thought it answered questions, but posed enough new ones so that it was a satisfying finale for me, left enough that I really want season 2, It was an episode in and of itself. I was a bit worried that it was just going to be a load of revelations. I still feel like there was an A to B there. I like that the only person Loki's ever truly romantically loved has broken his heart and betrayed him, and I can't wait to see how that plays out in season 2. I also can't wait to see Kang the Conqueror TVA. I also can't wait to see how the fuck he's going to get B-15 and Mobius back on side. And of course Sylvie at some point. But who knows what she's up to now. Charlie, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it? Did you dig?
I digged it, mate. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was genius to have this be a Kang variant. I think it was a really cool idea to see like the good version of Kang. It's cool. Well, yeah, but like I think it's cool because it's kind of like seeing a more morally good version of Thanos, and I think that's. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think is very interesting about it is that I like the cause of having the evil Kangs, the Kang the Conquerors, is through the Lokis essentially making a fuck up, making a mistake. And I like the very thing that we started the show with, which was we can't have these Loki variants escape because they're going to mess up the timeline. Happens at the end out of their own choice, even though they know the consequences of that. And I just thought that was great. I thought Kang was fantastic. I really liked that he was kind of like a nutty professor almost. He was a bit like he was a bit like he's been on his own too long. He's a bit kind of, you know, I like that he kind of wanted to give it away, the burden of the timeline. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this episode. I'm sure we're going to go more into it, but that's my basic opinions. Terry, what did you think?
I think Matt hit the nail on the head when he said, like, I'm satisfied with it.
Yeah.
I didn't find myself, like, in the last episode, I found myself on the edge of my seat. I was exhilarated. I was really, like, enjoying watching what was going on. But, like, as much as I got all the answers that I needed, and as you said, it's set up really well for the next season, I wasn't overly excited. And I found myself being like, yeah, I've got the information now. I'm ready for this to sort of be over. And then, you know, as much as, yes, we're getting ready for season 2, like, I just felt just content with it. I wasn't over excited by it, but I do think it has wrapped up what is the best series we've had from Marvel.
Out of the MCU Disney Plus stuff?
Yes.
I would agree with that.
And I
really thought it was going to be, not necessarily that I thought it was going to be the worst one, but it was one I was least excited about.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was the one that had the least kind of room to explore
Potential.
something interesting. Yeah.
And you know what's funny about this one is, like, everybody is watching Loki. Like, most people skipped out on WandaVision. It wasn't really, like, what people really wanted. And then I feel like a lot of people didn't even bother with Falcon and Winter Soldier. But, like, random people who I wouldn't really have thought. Like, my dad turned around like, I've been watching Loki. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I can't believe, like, that's the one out of all of them that people would choose to watch more.
See, I kind of had a different experience. They do, but for me, it was, well, with my mum, it was WandaVision was the one she kept bringing up, and she's not mentioned these other two.
Did she actually watch WandaVision?
Well, no, because she doesn't have Disney Plus. But I said to her I could give her our Disney Plus, but she
Disney Plus.
You know what I mean? Your Disney Plus. She. Oh, so you completely thrown me off.
Sorry, it was just funny. It was just funny. She doesn't have Disney Plus. We said we'd give it to her. Yeah.
Oh, that was it. She doesn't care about the MCU, doesn't care about superheroes, didn't know who Scarlet Witch was. The thing that pulled her in was it said in the paper it was going to be all different, like, old classic TV shows, and she was like, oh, that sounds really interesting, like they're going to go for all the TV shows. Yeah. So I do think, like, with these like with these Disney Plus shows, because they're free from the bonds of that 2 hour 20 framework, they can explore things that I think like Joe Public would want to watch that's not necessarily tied to superheroes. Like, this is a, you know, as we said before, got similar ties to Doctor Who, Douglas Adams, all those kinds of things. So if you like that kind of classic British sci-fi, I think you'd like Loki a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of the Dick Van Dyke Show, have you guys watched it?
No, I haven't.
It's like, although it's like very of its time, it's actually fantastic storytelling, and I do recommend it. I watched the first episode on recommendation of Courtney from work. Shout out to Courtney, thank you for that. It was actually a really, really great episode to watch, and I really recommend watching it. I think they're on YouTube. I'm pretty sure they're on YouTube.
Oh, amazing.
I do love
But like the way
Big
they
Bang
tell
Diet,
the story beats, the way they tell the story beats is so clear, and some of the jokes are so funny, and obviously there are bits of it like, haha, woman belong in kitchen, sort of thing.
I see.
But that's, you know, sort of more of its time.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you liked that first WandaVision episode, I'd definitely recommend watching the Dick Van Dyke Show.
I thought women did belong in the kitchen. Burger King told me so last year. Do you not remember that?
Oh yeah, that was weird, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Do you not remember that, Terry?
No, I feel like I vaguely have a memory of it happening, but I don't remember the advert.
Well, I'm about to tell you. Burger King tweeted, women belong in the kitchen, and then they tweeted, like, oh, you know, because they should be allowed to do chef work if they want to.
Bit. I do remember that. Oh, Burger King. Get out of here.
That,
Who even goes to Burger King? How are they still in business? Who eats at Burger King?
I think Charlie
it's the
likes
worst
Burger
one.
King.
Yeah, I like Burger King a lot. I disagree. I think the burgers are better than McDonald's burgers by a lot.
It's all right. I think it's the worst fast food.
Yeah,
and the only
I agree.
real memory I have of it is when I was like
Service stations.
6 or 7. I think I got like the X-Men Last Stand Wolverine in the Happy Meal, and I started like profusely vomiting after I had my Burger King, and that was like one of my first
That's
Burger
put you
Kings.
off
So
it.
that's what I kind of associate it with.
That's
I've
it.
had them since, and I just don't think it's that tasty. But
Oh yeah,
But I
see,
got
I'm a Burger
a
King fan.
Wolverine
Burgers are
figure out of it.
delicious.
they're all right.
Bacon and cheese double XL. Woo!
The chips just aren't as good either. The chips don't do it for me either.
Now, you know what used to do it for me chip-wise? The KFC chips, the original chips, and they changed
Yes.
them, and now they're not as good. They used to be. Oh, they used to be. Oh, God. Don't get me started on KFC.
Let's move on.
I thought everything with Kang, with Jonathan Majors, was really cool. I love that they brought him in at the end of this, and I really enjoy that, you know, there's enough fans of the MCU now that will watch every single thing that comes out, that they've kind of had the confidence now to, rather than it be sort of like a soft arc between Infinity Stones, they're actually giving you substantial movements forward in the canon in every single show, apart from something that's a bit more earthbound, I guess, like Captain America. But like, this feels like a direct continuation of the multiverse storyline in WandaVision, and then Spider-Man No Way Home is obviously going to expand this whole variance thing, isn't it? Like, I imagine we'll hear the term variance at some point when all these different Spider-Men are about. And then that's obviously going to feed right into Multiverse of Madness. And then from there, who knows? Like, I do think it's interesting that we're going to get a Lady Thor in Love and Thunder. And they've not specified
That's a
whether
good
that's
point.
the Jane Foster, have they? They
That's a
haven't
good
said.
point. It's a very good point, Mr. Matt.
That is true.
And we didn't think Loki was necessarily going to tie into these other things in the first place, so we don't know that Thor isn't either.
I think it's interesting.
Well,
that
we've already seen a Thor variant.
that is true.
Oh yeah, no, we did, yeah, the Thor
That is
Throg,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
Throg.
I think it's interesting that this show has become essential viewing for the MCU.
Yeah,
I think it's really interesting. Like,
Does that not scare you slightly though? That like we have to get this particular
you mean.
subscription to watch their TV show before we can go to the cinema and watch their film.
It doesn't scare me because you know, I'm a based human being, #based, and what I think being part of the #based life involved, I'm going to stop saying based now, is that if one of these turns out to be shit, I'll just stop watching. And if someone turns around to me and goes, oh, but wait, you really need to watch that one for the lore, I'll go and Google it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, the ball is still in their court to deliver good storytelling, as far as I'm concerned. The fact that, like, it all connects isn't going to, like, make me watch Ant-Man Quantumania if it's not, like, a fucking stinker. Do you know what I mean? Which it could be.
yeah. Well, we recently
Fair.
watched Infinity War
Fair.
and Endgame with my sister, and she'd only seen a select few of the Marvel movies, hadn't she? And
Yeah.
she still watched it and understood everything that was going on. So I think they're very aware of that. Not everyone's going to be watching everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
And that's the
Infinity
point.
War-
That's what we were talking. Sorry, that's what we were talking about with Kang. Because if I hadn't been watching with you guys and talking about Kang in the run-up, I would have had no clue. And they didn't say it once in the episode who he was. He was just this other guy, or the last guy. The one remains.
But I think that's the
So,
key,
yeah.
isn't it? In like
you don't. I suppose you don't need all of it to enjoy
well, no, exactly.
it.
He's an interesting character all on his own.
Absolutely.
And I think as well, like it kind of proves the difference between doing Marvel movies and Marvel TV is, if that was a Marvel movie, Loki the movie, it would have ended with the post-credit scene. It would have been 2 minutes of Kang going, woo! And that would have been like, oh my god, Kang's in it. Whereas now, because they've got like 6 hours, they can actually have him sit down and have a conversation and, you know, talk about the notion of time and cause and effect. And I just loved it for that. And also, I really like the idea that, in terms of the themes of belief that have gone through the season, we went from Mobius being this character that he has found empowerment and glorious purpose through belief and through giving over his choices to someone else and being okay with the idea that everything's laid out for him, he just has to follow this plan, and that's where relief will come from, to kind of going with Loki's idea that, you know, that's wrong and this is all a lie and this has ultimately been done for like scrupulous purposes, to then go back again and sort of flip that on its head. It's like, well, to be honest, Kang was right. Like, he was the best option, and now it's all going to unravel. And we're going to see, I imagine, in the next 10 years, we're going to get Secret Wars, aren't we? That's where this
definitely.
is going.
100%. They've definitely gone, what's the next Avengers? What's the next Infinity War Endgame? We're going to take this. We did the Thanos saga sort of thing from the comics. Now we're going to do the Infinity Gauntlet stuff, and now we're going to take the Secret Wars. It definitely seems like that's where they're going to go with it, 100%.
I also think...
Sorry, go on.
We think at the same time, Terry. Maybe it's the same thought. Should we both say our thought at the same time? No, let's not do that. That'll be terrible. You say yours.
I was going to talk about the ending and say that, like, I like how they did fuck it up. Like, they didn't do... Because when we watch all these, like, Avengers movies, essentially we are watching the heroes, but now we're sort of watching the anti-heroes, the villains, the sort of people. So it's nice to, like, to have an ending where it's like, oh wow, they really went and did the thing they weren't supposed to do. They've really fucked up. What, like, this is going to change the whole course of the thing, which is something we don't see a lot in the Marvel universe, because they always do the right thing and stay the course and be the hero.
I think you're right, and I think that's why this finale was the best finale of the 3 MCU shows. I think the problem with both Falcon and WandaVision is, by the time it got to the end, they sort of tried to become an MCU movie for the last hour, but they didn't have quite the budget or the action to carry that off. Whereas here, they did all the action last episode. This episode was smaller. 3 people at a table chatting. Yeah, smaller, more intimate.
We did get some pretty sick action, though, with Sylvie beating Loki up. I really enjoyed that.
But the stakes felt very personal, even though we were dealing with, like, all of time and space. Which is, again, something that Doctor Who does very well. Do you know what I mean? It's always these huge stakes, but really, it's about Amy Pond getting her parents back. That was why this episode worked for me.
Definitely.
It's about Loki and Sylvie's relationship and about that trust.
Exactly, I agree. I think Sylvie's a really interesting character because of that whole trust thing. I think it's fundamentally makes you understand Loki and his problems. I also want to put Loki. Sorry, guys. I actually want to put Loki. I want to put Loki in my favourite category of all time, which is the can't catch a break character category, and I've never looked at him that way before until this show, but now I'm like thinking back. Well, think about it. First of all, let's look at everything that's gone wrong for the poor fella. This entire show, he's seen himself die. He has been trapped in like endless loops. He has like fallen in love with himself and then been like turned against. Like everything that you could possibly do to this man has happened. He's found out that there's another version of him that's even better, who achieved his goal, but he actually died lonely. I thought I loved all that. Also, now it's making me rethink back to when Doctor Strange makes him fall through that, and he's like, I've been falling for 20 minutes, and I'm like, he's the ultimate can't catch a break character in the MCU, and I'd never see him that way, and now I'm like, they need to just keep doing that. I think just keep having him deal with like the worst scenarios possible and continue. But you can do that with a character that tried to murder the entire city and planet in the Avengers. You know, punish him as much as you can. I thought it was. I thought it was great.
Sorry,
and it makes us root for him more.
I don't think it makes us root for him more. It does. acknowledging your point before I jump in. I'm so sorry. I'm so rude. I forgot what my point was that I was going to jump in with.
Oh, no,
Fantastic.
No,
Fantastic.
I've got it. No, I've got a different point. I've got something else that I'll talk about because I had something on Charlie's point, but then I forgot because I was apologising. So, I think that the way that they do Sylvie and Loki and the way they act with like very similar mannerisms, like the way they were like moving and walking today as if they were one but almost not, and like the variations of how like they sit in the chair is like so similar but still different. And I think that those two actors working that out is so good, so clever.
They're a great pairing. I want to see more adventures. I mean, that Sylvie's definitely going to be in season 2. There's no way.
Of course.
I remembered my point. I was going to go on from Charlie's point and say I don't think we're going to see Loki rejoin the main timeline. Ever.
I think he will, and that'll be
or like
the
way
end
in the
of
future.
his. Yeah, I think that'll be like his final
Yeah.
turn of the story. Will be he gets to go home. In my opinion, anyway, home the long way round. I think that's it.
I think so, because I saw an image that someone posted today from the comics where it's Doctor Strange, Wanda, and Loki all like fighting off some stuff, and I was like, oh, well, I could totally see that now.
That's what
in the
we're gonna get.
multiverse of madness. Loki comes to help Doctor Strange. WandaVision's also there.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to that.
I do remember reading a rumour many years ago, kind of in the lead up to the end of sort of Phase 3 and indeed the Infinity Saga, which is kind of tying off like one year of the MCU. And I remember reading that kind of the idea going forward was that the space cosmic magic stuff was going to kind of have its own arc through line, and then the Earth stuff was going to sort of become its own thing, and like they were going to cross over less. And I could definitely see that, with the exception of No Way Home, because Black Widow and Falcon and Soldier feel so divorced from all this stuff.
Definitely.
But also, they've had things like that Valentina, Madame Hydra person, popping up. It feels like that's kind of connecting, and all of this stuff's implicitly connected. So I feel like maybe it was a rumour, but I feel like that could be true going forward. It will be interesting to see how much the Earthbound stuff and the space stuff sort of go on these parallel paths.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Interesting.
And do you guys think that what happened in this episode with the timeline splintering off had any effect? I don't know the timeline, Matt. You might know more than me. Had it any effect to some of the stuff that went on in WandaVision?
This is what I was thinking with the Quicksilver stuff, because like I was in my head I thought like, what if the Quicksilver variant did really come, and then the Ralph Boner stuff was like the TVA fixing it, and later on we'll see that and it will all link up. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's a cool idea.
It's the only sense I can make of Ralph Boner still.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was indeed a Quicksilver variant, and I think that would be a smart way of them undoing what was a pretty disappointing resolution. That's how it's coming back. I also wonder with Phase 4 going forward, like they haven't announced any Avengers films or any team-up films, but I wonder if they're planning to do a bit of a Captain America Civil War and actually put like the big game-changing story beat in a solo film. We know Jonathan Majors' Kang is going to turn up in Ant-Man 3, and that's like one of the later ones in the timeline. I think it's coming in 2023. Yeah, so I could so see, based on what we've had already, WandaVision leads into Loki leads in some way into No Way Home, Doctor Strange learns about variants in No Way Home, he then has this multiverse of madness stuff where Scarlet Witch is now folded into that, maybe even Loki folds into that, and they have they're a magic trio, and then, Thor might tie in. Then we have Quantumania. And Quantumania, I think it would be interesting if they played it that way, because I don't think people are really that excited for a third Ant-Man movie. They obviously are fans of it, but in terms of the different franchises that Marvel has, I think it's on the lower end of excitement. And I think Captain America, they were smart to fold in all the other Avengers for his third movie. I could totally see them doing the same thing with Ant-Man. Yeah. And Quantumania is kind of the end of the phase Avengers team-up film. So it's like Ant-Man, Loki, Wanda, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, all the ones that have been affected by the multiverse stuff, maybe with a few more, and that's kind of where all of this stuff comes to a head, like Avengers did, like Civil War did, like Infinity War did. That will be our Infinity War for this
I could
phase.
see that.
Anyway, that's just my hunch.
Yeah.
That's just my hunch.
I've got actually. I just had a thought in between all of that, and that is, I don't know what you guys think of this. Do you think they're going to use this sort of multiverse stuff to maybe explain the sort of how'd you put it? There being some sort of new Black Panther after Chadwick's passing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Thought about
interesting. I had not thought about that. I've not
Yeah.
thought about anything like that. I'm kind of the opinion that I said in a full fat video that I don't think the role should be recast, and a couple of people got salty at me about that. And I think to clarify, what I think I meant is I think it would be weird to recast him for Black Panther 2. I think it would very much feel like someone is stepping on Chadwick's toes there. But I think, you know, once you've honoured that passing that was, you know, it wasn't circumstances that could have been predicted, so that movie's got to kind of deal with that. But I do think in the future, the MCU does need a Black Panther, and we should have another one. And also, I'm too white to speak for the black community of the world, but I think it's fucking great that they got Black Panther. And I think, you know, just because Chadwick's passed, does that mean we shouldn't have another one? Like, I think we should have another Black Panther. Like,
have we discussed the idea before of Shuri becoming queen, but she doesn't take over the Black Panther mantle, and it's one of the warrior ladies? Have we discussed that, or did I see that somewhere else?
I'd be happy with any of those, but I just think that in some form, that was a kind of a watershed moment for superhero cinema to have a character like that lead a $1 billion movie like that. And we should have, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't just go away because the actor unfortunately passed away. I think we should have more of those stories in the future. So I think, you know, we're back from the Zoom jump, and we may have bickered during that time, but it doesn't matter. But the main thing is that Loki, episode 6, I think, was a fitting finale to a series that has been more than I could have hoped it was going to be. I think it's the best MCU Disney Plus show so far. I think it's one of the best things the MCU's done, and I definitely think it's the best thing Loki's done since he tried to take over New York. Or the worst thing, depending on your morality. Do you guys have anything to add, or should we jump into something else? That was Loki, I guess.
Do we want to rank episodes, or shall we skip that?
Give us your quick ranking. I think I'd go.
It was my quick
4, 1, 2, 5, 6, 3. Probably. That's. Don't hold me to that. That came out of my mouth. I just let it happen.
Yeah, I think off the top of my head, I'd go 4, 5, 1, 6, 2, 3. Again, just off the.
Yeah, this is top of the head stuff here. I'm gonna go with 4, 1, 2, 5, 6, 3. I think that's what.
If you just cut this out, it just really looks like we're 3 people who can't count.
That's the cut down.
1,
3, 6.
Yeah, 3 was the one where they were trapped on the planet, wasn't it?
Yes.
3 was the weakest, I think.
Yeah, that was the worst episode. Definitely, yeah.
It was the least. I liked it, but I think in terms of the others being really tightly structured and delivering like essential story beats, I think that was the one episode where it kind of just slowed down and they kind of just hung out for a bit.
But I think we needed that. I don't think it could have done without it, you know? I think it was necessary. I think it was a nice little pit stop on the motorway.
But I think it could have been tighter. Could have been a tighter episode.
I agree.
Yeah, and if we have to rank them, then that something's got to come last. That would come last for me.
I get it.
I get it.
What was your last one, Tess?
Terry.
My last one, I think I'd put 3, but I honestly couldn't remember what 2 and 3 were, so I just put them at the end.
I think that's Loki.
That's
And
Loki.
that, of course, wraps up the MCU for this year. No, of course not, because we've still got Shang-Chi and Eternals. And What If?
Yep. And Spider-Man.
What if?
Oh my god. Oh yeah. That's December, isn't it?
That's actually insane the amount of
that-
Marvel we've had this year. We're going to get this year.
That is enough for like a full year before we've
Yeah.
even gotten to any of that
That's
stuff.
enough for a lifetime.
Yeah.
I understand it's been squished because of the pandemic.
pandemic,
Like
but,
some of
yeah.
this stuff. Like last year would have actually been Black Widow, Eternals, WandaVision, I think. Oh no, and Falcon Winter Soldier.
Right.
So obviously it's become a bit packed in, but still that is
Still,
it's
yeah,
way
yeah.
too much. Way too much. With the
insane.
series
Yeah.
as well. I'm a bit burnt out on it now. I'm a bit
Yeah.
burnt out on
Yeah.
it like how I was burnt out on Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? I need a bit of a break.
I'm the exact same.
I agree. I agree.
I need like a while
think it
of
can-
just weird A24 movies for a bit. Just to like, you know what I mean? Before I go back to the franchises, I just need something to watch.
I'm going to make
think-
Matt watch Gossip Girl for a break.
That's a good idea.
Sure, we could do it. We could do Gossip Girl. We could do the Gossip Girl reboot.
Nah, I've no interest.
No, we want OG team, don't we?
We want
Blair and the gang.
OG. And they're
Yeah.
never going to be as nasty as they used to be. And it's just no fun.
No, I mean, yeah. Let's not get into how nasty Gossip Girl is, because I watched a bit of the first episode. I don't want to even go into it. But yeah, Freaky, we watched at the weekend in separate cinema screens. We didn't watch it with Charlie, because, you know, we had a separate business meeting in bed and we decided that we didn't want to include
We
Charlie.
can't do everything with Charlie.
Yeah. No, but you of course saw it with your girlfriend at a different time of the day, at a different screen in the same cinema. Is that correct?
And we didn't plan that at
Yeah.
all. We didn't even know, did we?
I didn't know you'd seen it that day. I was
Yeah,
going to say to you, oh, she's freaky, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you'd seen it either.
How
until Jade said it.
interesting.
Yeah.
How freaky.
How
Oh.
freaky.
Well,
Do you know what would be
Talk about
horrible
freaky.
if, like, me and Jade swapped bodies? That would be horrible.
That would be weird.
That
Can you imagine? That would be really
Do you
weird.
think-
But Charlie's trying to do.
Would you still have
witchy
sex
things.
with us?
No, I don't. Like, because either way, you're having sex with the wrong person or in the wrong body, and
Yeah, it'd be weird.
it just there's no way of cleaning that mess up
What if-
between the four of us.
What
It's
if
over then.
but to make sure you're sleeping with the right person would just go into the other rooms, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but like I would still be sleeping with you in Charlie's girlfriend's body.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
So
that
it would
would be
still
weird.
you'd still be sleeping with Charlie's girlfriend.
That'd be weird.
You know what it
That's
would
just
be
a mess
like?
that we can never clean up.
You know what it would be like? It would be like that episode of Sex Life we watched where they went to that sex party and his best friend, who the whole season's been like, yeah bro, his wife just starts sucking his dick. And then afterwards he's like, what the fuck, bro? And then they have a fight and then Cooper like fucks him up. And then at
This
the
show
next
sounds
business
insane.
meeting...
I need to see it.
Oh, well, we finished it last night, and I'm gonna wait for.
Don't
you
say
to
too much
finish
because I'm
it.
gonna watch it. I'm actually gonna. Me and Jade
Yeah.
said the other day we're gonna watch it together. So
Yeah, no, that's why I don't want to spoil it.
I
Because,
can't wait for you to watch it
can't
because
wait.
it's just a crazy shit show.
I said to Terry, there's only one way this is gonna end at the start. I was like, this scene has got to happen. There's a specific scene that must happen, and that is exactly how it ends. That is literally the
Fantastic.
final note from which it ends.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
fantastic. I can't. Wait.
But yeah, definitely check it out.
I can't wait.
Freaky though, I really enjoyed, from the director of Happy Death Day.
Yep.
I haven't seen Happy Death Day 2. Is that the same director?
Yes,
Charlie.
it's the same director, Christopher
Okay, yeah.
Landon or something.
Yeah.
The original title of this movie was going to be called Freaky Friday the 13th.
Oh, really?
Which I think's interesting, yeah. Because obviously there's a lot of references to it being Friday the 13th. And I think that's actually quite a cool title. But I understand the choice between going for Friday, just in case people...
Well, it's kind of Freaky Friday meets slasher movie, really, isn't it?
It's Freaky
Yeah.
Friday meets Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That's why that title is... It's one of those genius titles that film fans would come over.
Yes.
But I see why marketing it across the world, they'd call it Freaky.
100%.
Yeah,
I
can you imagine
think
being
so.
like, have you seen Freaky Friday the 13th? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a mouthful, it's a
bit of
mouthful.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought Vince Vaughn was terrific in it. I thought there was some fantastic kills. I think the horror was handled better than Happy Death Day, even though I really enjoy Happy Death Day. I got a real soft spot for it. But the comedy was great in both, but I think the horror was better in this one. Like some of the kills, like the bottle, and like just the way those teenagers were getting massacred at the start. I was like, this.
Fantastic.
I haven't felt like this in a while. I haven't had like a proper slasher in a while.
I can't look at those things. I really can't. Like I always have to look away. I'm such a coward because just like, the thought of it happening. That's why I don't like Saw and all those things because it's just I just can't watch it. Just can't do it.
It's just syrup and food colouring.
I know, Charlie, we disagreed about this the other day, didn't we? But I kind of feel like, as much as I do find the comedy funny, I do feel like they just watched Jumanji and went, a comedian playing a teenager, a middle-aged man playing a teenage girl, like, that's the joke. That's what we're going to do for Freaky. Like, I know obviously it's based on Freaky Friday and all those kind of body swap movies, but I definitely feel like in terms of the lexicon of things that have just come out, I feel like that was definitely the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is funny. People love Jumanji. They love this Jack Black joke.
Yeah. No, I
think that's interesting because I think it's a thing it's gone through. They've done it so many times. This kind of thing of like a guy pretending to be in a body. But I do understand what you're saying.
But all the examples are like teenagers or like 13 going on 30. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think specifically that kind of idea of like, ooh, I'm talking like, we're doing your makeup stuff. Isn't it funny that I'm like Vince Vaughn and like I'm Jack Black? I'm like a middle-aged man and like I'm talking to you about makeup. Like that's the joke, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's really interesting as I get older, starting to like not relate to the teenagers in movies anymore. If that makes sense, that's a really strange thing when you start to realize like you're more on the adult side than the teenager side, and all the teenage stuff you kind of can't relate to anymore because you don't live in like the world that the teenagers live in nowadays is so different to the world we lived in as teenagers. So now it's really weird to get old and feel that.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Which bit?
You're lagging hilariously behind me.
Same.
you only just moments ago said no. You go on. I think she's still kind of delayed.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm waiting. I said which bit of Community?
Oh, it was just when I saw that Annie was born on her birth certificate. She's like the age I am now, and I was like, oh, the Annie that I watched when I was a kid at school was supposed to be the Annie at this stage of my life. Do you know what I mean? That's weird to me.
Yeah.
Because I always think of them as like older than me, and now I'm like, oh no. They're not older than me anymore. No. I'm supposed to be that person.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird. But you know what? That's what time is, you know. History, you know, is full of repeating mistakes and everything's ruined eventually. But in the 90s, there was this perfect marriage of form and function known as the jet ski. And anyway, I'm gonna stop referencing things now. Freaky, I thought it was freaky fun.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, I might say that on that Jack Black note, I don't think it's derivative of that. I just think that's we're trying to sell this movie.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think it's derivative, or at least like Happy Death Day, the ways in which it's derivative, it's clever about.
Yeah.
And it's doing it on purpose, isn't it?
Well, I just think, it's a pastiche, I think, to a lot of this stuff. It's it's Freaky Friday.
Oh,
it's gonna.
Yes.
In its concept itself, it's already. Well, not derivative, but it's a pastiche, isn't it? It's trying to recreate.
But it's not close enough to a pastiche. Do you know what I mean? For me, do you know what I mean? It's still like its own thing enough, and I felt like that with Happy Death Day. Do you know what I mean? Like they reference Groundhog Day at the end,
course,
but it's not. It's nowhere near Groundhog Day other than the fact it's a time loop.
They've just put it in a different genre. That's what I like about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I think both movies. I mean, I would like to see Happy Death Day too. I imagine that's good as well.
I want to see that as well.
They skirt that line perfectly between giving us, you know, the references in the film language that's being used that we know from watching other movies, but also I feel like I'm getting something fresh.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Happy Death Day.
I think you'd enjoy it.
I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
good fun. I actually did see it with my last girlfriend though, so I can't see
no!
it.
So that's out. We can absolutely not watch any of the same movies.
I have a rule: I can't see the same movie twice. You know, with two girlfriends. It's like the equivalent of crossing the streams. You know. You just
yeah.
She's just. Lord Vader.
I'd like to resign from the Full Fat Podcast.
That's funny.
And I couldn't watch this movie with Terry because she wasn't available. So here's my ex-girlfriend to discuss it.
No, here's my new girlfriend. I don't chase them, I replace them. And if I'm caressing them, I'm undressing them.
I wish that you didn't make me laugh. Like, I wish I could keep a straight face when you do stupid little things like this, but you just make me laugh, and then I hold no moral high ground because I'm laughing at you.
That's the best way, actually, guys and girls. If you're ever in an argument with your partner, if you can make them laugh whilst they're arguing with you, they have lost all credibility in the argument. They know they have, and then the argument's over. It's perfect.
That's how me and Matt have survived through life.
Yeah, I'm like, I know you're mad at me, but if I just, continue being the clown that I am, maybe you'll. Let's look at Terry's face. She's smiling. It's all good.
Yeah, he just talked about replacing me, and I'm laughing. It's because secretly I can't wait.
You can't wait to be replaced.
Let's not have a couple spat here. Let's move on.
Let's not have a couple spat here. No, Terry. Let's do it right here, right now.
Charlie's like, I beg you.
Can we please talk about the best scene in Freaky, which is when Vince Vaughn and I think the character's name's Brooker are in the car together, and which is for me what I think is the best scene in the movie because it's like delivers on the promise of the premise, and also is hilarious. Whilst also you're cutting back to the actual threat, which I thought was fantastic. Just also a quick little thing is that I believe Booker, the character Booker's last name was Strode, which is a reference to Halloween. Laurie Strode. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I thought was cool. They did a few things like that in that.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
Yeah, I also really liked how it's Vince Vaughn, and I can't remember who the main actor is. Her name's
Christine Hendricks.
Am I right that she's going to be... I think she's going to be in the next Ant-Man as the daughter. I'm pretty sure she got cast as the daughter.
Oh,
they've recast her.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure she's playing the daughter.
Can I just say that she's beautiful, and then we have a movie where she's like the outsider and the ugly one, and no guy would ever touch that beaver. And
that's classic high school movie, though, isn't it?
It just every time it just pisses me off so much because it's like she would get eaten up at school. Like, let's not pretend.
Oh, I know, but you have to.
Kathryn Newton's her name.
Movie reality, don't you?
People want to watch attractive people.
I reckon, obviously, you'd cast me if it was a realistic movie as the jock, but because, I'm kind of, quirky, I guess you'd cast me as the nerd. But, it's the same thing, isn't it? Like, obviously, you think I'm really handsome, but, I'd play the nerd. That's what you meant, right? That's what you meant.
Sure, honey.
See. You can't retract it now, you said it.
Yes, baby. Okay, so, more on Freaky.
I was going to say, I really loved how he was playing it, like how we've known that character up until that point from her perspective, and then she was doing the opposite, like standing, like looking very intimidating, the leather jacket, like that was perfectly done, and also ample opportunity for jokes. I loved it when Vince Vaughn looked at her and went, "Oh my god, I love what she's doing with this whole jacket thing," and then she goes to Booker. Do you like that? Do you like that? Is that working for you?
That was great. That was my favourite gag of the whole thing when she said that. I thought that was so good. Funny.
Did you also not enjoy, and Charlie, I know you'll enjoy this one, but Terry, did you enjoy this, that there was no excessive world building? We cut to the sacrifice thing, they're on like the top of a Mayan
straight
pyramid.
To the action.
Yeah, from that visual of like the sacrifice thing, we understand that this is some sort of freaky device that's going to do a freaky thing, and we don't have to have it explained. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, and I also liked the conceit that they needed to swap back within a certain time limit because it just kept it. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we mean when we talk about good pacing. Like, it just gets straight into the action without sacrificing clarity, and then you're presented with the problem, and then by the end of the 100 minutes, it's resolved. We've had a laugh, we've had scares, we've felt something. Like, that's what good pacing is.
I think the simplicity of the story like really made it work. There were no like complicated sharp turns. I think it was so simple, but I also think that might have been its downfall because I just think that in the 90 minutes, even though it's not very long, I do feel like it was still dragged out a tiny bit. And you obviously felt the same way because you had a little nap in between.
I fell asleep for a little bit in the middle.
Miss a thing really. So.
I missed like a little bit of the hijinks at the party.
Yeah.
But I'll fill that in.
There weren't many hijinks, to be honest. So.
I just was like, when you're so comfy in the cinema seat, you're like.
Oh, and we were in like this really tiny screen with only like 3 rows, so it was so cozy and so warm. Like, I get it.
Yeah, anyone that's been to the Leicester Square Cineworld, where they often do Fright Fest, there's this weird screen 3, and I believe screen 6 is also... Yeah, they're the tiniest cinema screens.
Small. It's almost uncomfortably small for a cinema.
Oh, I quite like it. I think that no matter where you sit, it doesn't really matter because the screen's big and like it's further enough away from the screen where it almost feels quite intimate. I think I
find it very claustrophobic. I think it's it's too packed in.
And also like you go to watch a film with somebody and you're always like far away from kind of other people, or like it never feels like you're really sat like on top of people. So I'm never really too bothered about like popcorn or other people eating popcorn because like the movie's the main thing. But in there, it feels like you can feel the presence of the other people. You can see the guy eating his hot dog. Like, it's uncomfortable.
I think that exposes how many films me and Charlie have gone to, because I feel like my whole cinema experience is synonymous with bumping elbows with people and feeling hot and sweaty because there's so many bodies in the room. And like, particularly something, again, like Fright Fest. When you're packed out, I remember one year I was sat like directly in the middle of the big screen. Like it just gets so hot. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so many people like shuffling around and stuff. Like, my recommendation would be sitting on the sides, even though you don't get quite as good an angle. I just think it's so much easier for your sanity.
Don't tell them our secrets,
there. They'll book those seats, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. They'll book our seats. Something I also want to talk about with you, Matt, was just that, and I think this film couldn't be. I don't think Vince Vaughn could have done this movie 10 years ago. I think that this movie is a perfect sort of blend of the movies that he did in the early 2000s, these comedies, these sort of the comedies that he's known for, and then now past 10 years he's been doing more serious stuff where he's played a more intimidating, threatening figure, like Brawl in Cell Block 99, like True Detective Season 2, like Dragged Across Concrete, and I feel like this was the perfect blend of his evolution of him as an actor, in terms of he's still playing the intimidating figure, but he's also in a comedy, and I thought that was it was really interesting to see that. I thought, and just wanted to see if you.
I think that's really interesting. No, I'm fascinated by that because I hadn't actually thought about it until you said it. Like when you watch something like Brawl in Cell Block 99 or True Detective Season 2, I remember both times we were kind of like, oh, this is kind of like a new side of Vince Vaughn that I've not seen before, or at least it's. It's a return to something a bit more serious. He did stuff like Swingers, but he's known for being a comedy guy, isn't he? So I think you're right there, but I hadn't considered that if you take like that and Dragged Across Concrete and those sort of films out of the mix, would you be as accepting
as him
running around slashing people up?
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I don't know if you would. Whereas to go from comedy man doing the internship with Owen Wilson to doing True Detective and all those things, to kind of circling back around to the comedy. I think you're right. I think that's exactly why it works. He's done both now. He kicks so much arse in Brawl in Cell Block 99.
Oh my god, he's so sick in it. He's fucking
the fights were really good in it.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Everyone should check that out. Really enjoy that film.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really enjoy that movie, and I love that like he just sort of goes down like the descent into the 9 circles of hell, the 7 circles of hell.
Dante's
Inferno, it's like like it just keeps getting worse and worse for him the deeper into the prison he goes, and it becomes more hellish. Like, so yeah, great movie. I'd happily sit that on again anytime. And Dragged Across Concrete, to be honest.
Definitely, I agree.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Bit too long, Dragged Across Concrete, I think.
Yes, definitely.
the
Not
week
as
of
tight
the
as
two.
Brawl. Yeah, definitely not.
No.
Do they drag the movie across the concrete?
No, but there are some really heartbreaking moments in it, which I won't spoil.
Very heartbreaking moments, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a good movie.
Oh,
And so is Freaky.
We'll watch it then.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Freaky, going back to Freaky, it gave me one of my favourite lines that I've heard in a movie for a long time, and it's where one of the jock guys like puts his hand on her bum, and then she turns to him and she's like, "Your touch makes this pussy dry than sandpaper," and I just lost
that was
my
great.
mind. I thought it was fantastic. I'm stealing that. Don't touch me in a club because that's what you're gonna get told. Can't wait.
Yeah, I thought it was a very sad because everyone's seen that sort of situation in a club or a night out, or you know, if you're a girl, you might have experienced it, and like
Probably.
just the way he's like fronting to his mates, like like this arse is mine, and then she gets shut down. She shuts him down, and then she leaves, and he's still like, yeah, she totally wanted me. Like, it's good. It made me laugh out loud a few times throughout the movie. That sort of high school stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Go check it out in cinemas. It's out now. Go to the cinemas, people. It is time.
Please do. It's great fun. You'll have a good time.
Is there? I feel like we've been chatting for a while now. Should we wrap things up?
Yeah. Do we have anything to talk about?
I could rattle off some quickie things we've seen. If we want to, keep some things to a minute or two. If there's anything else you've seen. I saw The Tomorrow War. Quick review. Way too long. Shocking script. The actual action sequences, tearing up the dino monster beasts, was fantastic. There's some really good set pieces in there. It's a fucking crying shame it's not out in the cinema, and it needs to be, there needs to be about 40 minutes shaved off of it, or failing that, there should have been a second draft of the script. But at the same time, an original big sci-fi epic, I don't want to be too nasty on it, but at the same time, studios need to be trying harder. Do you know what I mean? Like, if this was James Cameron's The Tomorrow War, we'd be talking about it in 20 years' time, because it would have been tight as fuck, but it's not. So it's just another one of those movies sat on the mediocre pile with some good moments.
Okay.
Interesting. I need to check it out. I'm
Indeed.
intrigued. We also, Matt, didn't we? We watched a film called Oxygen, which is on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And it is directed by the director of Crawl, Alexander Aja. I cannot pronounce his name, but
Fantastic movie.
Fantastic film. I'm really excited by this director because I think he makes really interesting genre movies that people would usually write off as like trash kind of ideas, and then makes them classy, but still keeping that exploitation nature of it intact. Particularly found that with Crawl and this film called Oxygen. I really enjoyed this movie. It's all essentially, if you want to know the premise, essentially this lady wakes up in a incubator type thing, and she basically has no idea how she got there, why she's in there, and her oxygen levels are dropping in the incubator. And it's a fantastic movie. It gets very interesting, some really interesting concepts in it. It gets surprisingly bigger than you'd think it would. I'm trying not to say too much because I think people should watch it. It's really fun. It's obviously mostly set in this one. It's kind of like a play on the Buried concept, but a more sci-fi version of that. But I
was going to make a Buried joke, and then I thought I'd squash it. Sorry, I don't know if I actually cut you up there because you were talking at a normal pace, and then when I started speaking, you went.
No. It was good. It was good timing.
It was perfect timing. Oh.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment of it. I really enjoyed it. I think there's a great reveal around the midpoint, which wasn't what we were expecting.
No.
And it does a really good job of adding to the stakes with every scene. Do you know what I mean? There's like a new problem being added that's making the last problem worse, and it's got that great sort of building tension.
Definitely, a lot of great tension in it, and surprising for something that's so restricted in its surroundings. I also think it does a good job of, obviously they're stuck in one place. There's going to be parts where you see sort of cutbacks, but I actually think it does a good job in kind of explaining why we're cutting, as opposed to just being kind of lazy with the writing and just going, here, we're going to have a flashback. I feel like they at least attempt to explain why we're having a flashback within the narrative that we're watching, which I enjoyed. I respect it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it does what something like what's the fucking Sandra Bullock? Gravity. It does something. Yeah. It does the same sort of conceit in Gravity, where it's about this disaster, but it's also about her being a mother and losing her child and that sort of stuff. But I think it does it in quite a ham-fisted way, where you're just smashing it in there so that we get the theme in there. Whereas I think Oxygen does it really organically. Like, the backstory we learn about the character is something that you need to learn, and it's something that she definitely would bring up in this situation. And it works so much better for me when they do it like that, rather than it being the way it's done in Gravity. I think it's a bit ham-fisted.
Don't get me wrong, it doesn't deal with any concepts that we haven't seen before, but or her, yeah, it's in the sci-fi realm of things. But I think it takes a new perspective on it, and puts in a new way that I enjoyed. So yeah,
Sweet.
that's all I'll say about that one.
Tez, you got anything? You don't have to.
I started getting Matt to watch the B movie, and we're going to finish that, so we'll have that for you next week.
Oh yes.
He enjoyed that. I do have a shameless plug if we're done talking about stuff we've watching, because I didn't actually watch that much this week.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I was enjoying B movie, and I agree with you.
Yeah, we'll have it for next week.
Yeah. Plug away.
No, I was just going to say that I'm taking part in a charity white collar boxing match in September. So there will be links for charity. I'll be doing like a 24-hour stream, I'm thinking, on my Twitch to hopefully raise money for that, for Mind, which is the mental health charity. And links will be coming out on my social media and Matt's, hopefully, because he'll share because he likes me. The links will be coming out for that. So there's my plug for the day.
It's gonna be interesting.
It is. I'm gonna get punched in the face.
I think I'm gonna get people to bet.
I'm gonna get people to bet on me.
What
What are your bets, boys? Do you
I'm
think
in the
you're gonna
background
win or
making all
lose?
the money. You're pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, it's like they train you up, don't they, across like 8 weeks?
Yeah. I get 8 weeks of training.
You wouldn't say you're a boxer at this point, would you? So
No, but I
guess
can
that's
throw
kind of
a
the beauty of it, isn't it?
mean little punch.
Yeah, but like, you're at that level where at the end of the 8 weeks, I imagine it'll be quite transformative. For
Hopefully.
you. Yeah. I think it's gonna be awesome.
I think it's cool.
And
I'm
I think you
excited.
got a lot of balls to do it.
Gotta do something. We've been in lockdown forever.
Got to do something to excite the people.
Exactly.
On that note, this has been the Full Fat Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Next week, I don't know what we're going to be doing. It's just going to...
Oh, yeah.
because there's no Loki to anchor us down, so anything could happen. We'll see. If you want to tweet at us, you can find us at Full Fat Videos, at Murky and Terry, and at Lemon Juice Lily. I think I'm getting that right. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can follow me at full_fat_videos, at Lemon Juice Lily, and at... Is it Terry Merkin for Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah. Sweet. And then you can catch me on YouTube. How do you not know that I have a YouTube channel at this point if you're watching this podcast? I think that's unlikely. You know what? I'm not going to do that one. We'll see you next week.
So that's all for now.
Ciao.